order the regular meeting of the Ojai Parks and Recreation Commission for Thursday, November 6, 2025. Will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Munich?
Here.
Commissioner Tabak-Bank?
Here.
Chair Taylor?
Present.
Vice Chair Inner?
Here.
Commissioner Lear?
Present. And will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, and we have approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Okay, and a second.
I second.
Second.
Thank you. I think I need a roll call for that.
Commissioner Munich?
Approved or
Approve or
approved?
not?
Sorry.
Yes.
Deja vu. Approved.
Commissioner Tabak-Bank?
Approved.
Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Chair Inner?
Yes.
Commissioner Lear?
Yes. Thank you. And moving right along to our public communications, we have one speaker card for item not on the agenda. Mr. Kraut, Tim Kraut, please join.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Am I good to go? Yes. Okay. Tonight, I just wanted to make 4 quick comments. The first, I want to congratulate Christy Rivera on your permanent status as Parks and Rec Commission manager. Way to go. Secondly, I would like to thank all the commissioners that are serving, that are volunteering your time. Appreciate that. It's a lot of time that you invest for everyone, for the kids in the valley. Thirdly, I would like to comment on the local pickleball court that we have right here below us. It's about 8 years old now. The condition of the court is deteriorating. When the city overlaid that space down there, they gave us 2 inches of asphalt, okay? And at that time, they said that was good for about 5 years. So we've surpassed that. So if you go down there and take a look at it, it's starting to show wear and tear, especially with the cracks. And that might be partly because of the trees. But anyways, maybe this commission can see about getting that on CIP and for future upgrades, and maybe get a post-tension concrete involved in that. That would be great. Finally, I would just like to ask, how many of you commissioners here play pickleball? Any of, just one, okay. Well, I would, and so I would encourage each and every one of you to come out and play. It costs nothing. There's plenty of people out there to help you, to show you, and we'd be glad to have you. And we have paddles and balls. You don't have to buy anything if you want to get started. You want to try it out. I think Sage, once she tried it out, I think it's in her bloodstream now.
I've been hearing about it.
Yes, it's very addictive, but it's a good addiction. So anyways, those are just some of the points that I wanted to mention, and hope that all of you can join us sometime. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. What's the bad part? The kitchen? The kitchen's bad?
Yes. Stay out of the kitchen.
Stay out of the kitchen.
Okay, and anyone else in the audience that has any comments not on the agenda? Nope. Okay, moving right along onto our consent calendar, consent items. We have the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 4th. And I passed out a copy earlier. Any questions, comments, changes?
Move to accept the minutes as written.
Second that.
Moved and seconded?
Commissioner Munich,
Second?
Commissioner Tabak Bank,
Aye.
Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Chair Intner,
Yes.
Commissioner Lear.
Yes.
Great.
And continuing at our rocket speed, I'm trying to beat Sage's 16-minute meeting now. Moving on to our presentations. This evening, we have a presentation from one of our fitness instructors, Gary Ryan. Please join us.
I was gonna bring these golf balls so we can practice golf. Actually, we use them to,
Microphone.
To bring a putter too?
yeah, so we use these for a lot of different things. We use them for grip strength for the seniors. It turns out that grip strength is like the most, well, it's closely tied to longevity in people. So the stronger your grip is, probably the longer you'll live, at least statistically. And so we work on grip strength, and we have the seniors do grips with the golf balls. It's like, well, I have them actually driving, when they're driving in their cars, they do it. And it's a good thing. So we use them for, and then we also use them for feet, to roll your feet, which is, I guess that's fairly common.
Is using a golf ball, is that better than a squeeze ball, or about the same?
It's different because you're rotating the balls around in your hand,
Oh,
so it's a little
like Captain Quig.
like Captain Quig did. Yeah, you and I are old enough to remember the Cane Mutiny.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have it's been the ride of my life being here. I've been here 25 years, and I can't believe it. Came over, I was working at the racket club and making lots of money over there, of course. No, but we, for $50 a month, the seniors here in Ojai get to work out in the gym, and they can come in, you know, besides the regular classes, they're allowed to come in during the afternoon as well. It's a heck of a good deal. And the racket club's like, I don't know, $1,000 a month or something. But but we do it for 50. So that's a pretty good deal. And we have a really, everyone in the room invited. Come on up and take a look at the gym that we've built over the years. I put I think around 100,000 in there. And it's been well worth it because we've gotten more fun. We've had more fun, and more things have happened. I have to say, a couple of concussions, myself included, but in general, it's been a really great ride, and I appreciate the city allowing me to be here because it's been great. My background, I came from the Navy gym up in Kodiak, Alaska, where I worked for many years. And I enjoyed working for the Navy, but I'll tell you, this is really cool. This is really cool in Ojai, and it's been a lot of fun. So we have about 30 seniors that we train, and we do twice a week, and then they're allowed to come in other times during the week, and they only pay $50 a month. It's really it's hardly any cost at all. So it's a good deal. And we don't do anything real hazardous. We've had only a couple of accidents in 25 years, and I was one of the accidents. I was running across the parking lot chasing Max Dickinson, who's my partner in this endeavor, and I was chasing him, and I slipped in a puddle and got a concussion that way. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and. So what do we do over there? Well, we use a lot of exercise bands. I don't think I brought the bands tonight, but we use the exercise bands, which are stretch bands, which you've seen, I'm sure. And the stretch bands are a great exercise tool. And then we use Russian kettlebells, which is kind of unusual. You don't see that in senior classes very much, but we used to do it in CrossFit, and they're real safe. We had the CrossFit program over here for several years with Tyson Hardman, and we had a lot of fun with that. We went down to the CrossFit Championships in LA, and we did very well down there. In fact, one of the guys from Ojai, Dylan Carlson, won the competition down there. It was really good. It's about 20 years ago or so. And yeah, he outdid the German champion by quite a bit. And it was really, it made the newspapers all over the Southland, and it was pretty cool. So the Carlson family's, yeah, they're kind of athletic. Good folks. And it's been a lot of fun. Anyway, we use strength bands. So with the band pulls, we use the golf balls, and you can roll the golf ball around your foot to increase the circulation in the bottom of the foot, which is very helpful. We do that for the seniors pretty much before every class. At least we've been doing it for years. And then we use the Russian kettlebells. You might have seen those things. They're like a cannonball with a handle attached to it. And you do that. It's a CrossFit staple. And so we do that as well. The kettlebells we use for the seniors. And once you get used to those things, I mean, there's not a safety issue or anything. They're fairly safe. Like I say, we've only had a couple of accidents in 25 years, and I think only one in the senior class. So that's a fairly good record. But I pay for insurance for the class and for the group. And we do that on an annual basis. So we do have insurance, which is privately run, privately funded. And yeah, I think it's been one of the greatest rides of my life. I mean, I've really enjoyed it up here. And so I want to thank the city of Ojai and the folks, because this is just, it's been great, yeah. Does anybody have any questions on?
Yeah, how many people do you usually have in a class?
Oh, about 25 or so.
And how many teachers, how many instructors?
And so myself and Max Dickinson, who's been my partner through the years, he's been, incredible story on Max. He's been run over by a car twice. And
Has to be
yeah,
more careful.
I mean, and he's come back, and both times, he's been in the hospital both times, and he's come back amazing. That he's one of the strongest guys I know. And he lives down in Ventura with his wife and kid, and then he comes up here just to do the class, because I think what it is that he feels like he's paying back, because we helped rehab him, years ago. He used to live in the Rock House over in Miners Oaks. I don't know where that is, but right as you're going into Miners Oaks on the right, there's a that's where he used to live, with the Black Widow spider collection and all that. It's, yeah, he made it through both of those things, through the Black Widows and the and being run over. That's tough. That's a tough thing, but yeah. So we've got Max has been a great find. He's a super good instructor. What a heart he has. And yeah, we've been there a long time, and it has been, like I say, it's been the ride of my life. I've really enjoyed it.
And what times are the classes that you offer?
So we go in the afternoon. We're open from 3 to 6, and our morning classes are at 9 and 10. And that's Monday and Wednesday. And so just twice a week for the seniors, but the gym's open 5 days a week. Otherwise, we're open in the afternoons.
And I actually took the classes. They were great. I did it for a while. It was really, really good. The bands are incredible. You meet everybody at the level where they are, and it was great. I felt like going twice a week to that class was better than most of the other things I had done The bands are really, really functionally, you guys are incredibly creative. They wrap them around poles and use them all these different places. And anyway, and you guys do a great job because they split up into two. You have one group doing one thing and another group doing another, and then you swap out. So Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 or 10.
9 to, so an hour
9 to
typically,
10
each
and then
person
10
does
to
an
11.
hour. Okay.
So there's 2 different times you can sign up for, and they do it right there. At,
And then 3 to 4,
Recreation
4 to
department.
5, 5 to 6.
That's open
Oh,
gym.
it's open gym,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you have a website?
We just use the rec department.
Okay.
It's on the rec site.
Yeah.
Brochure, it's in the brochure, and we use their
Good.
website. So, yeah.
Very good, good to know. I didn't know about that, so thank you for that presentation.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
And with perfect timing, we move on to our discussion items tonight, the awaited CIP review from our Public Works Director, Lindy Palmer.
I have met only one of you,
Microphone.
and it's so exciting to have a commission. There we go. So I am Lindy Palmer, your Public Works Director, and tonight, on Christie's request, at your request, she's asked me to come and give you just an overview of what our CIP looks like. I'm going to be, we have six categories in our CIP, and Christie has just handed you the CIP. I've tabbed it so you can kind of get to where we need to be quickly. But I'm going to focus on the parks section of the CIP. We have streets and transit and such, but I will be focusing on what is relevant tonight. So I have just a quick PowerPoint. I thought showing you on screen would be easier than reading this teeny tiny
Teeny
print.
tiny.
We crammed a lot of
Very
stuff there.
tiny.
Yeah. So let me just take a moment and if you don't know, the Public Works Department puts together a 5-year CIP every single year, so it rolls. So we look at the next fiscal year, so I will be working with Christie and potentially you folks as well on developing new projects, et cetera, that you would like the council to consider adopting. So we begin this process in, first part of the year. So we'll be thinking about it January, February, March for adoption. The document gets adopted along with the budget because year 1 of a 5-year CIP becomes the budget. So in the absence of having a commission over the last bit, Christie and I met last spring when we were putting the CIP together and came up with some ideas that we thought would be, some projects that we thought would be great parks projects. In addition to a citywide electrification effort that we're undergoing right now. So that's just sort of a brief overview of what the CIP looks like. So again, it's a 5-year document, but it's done every year. So we just keep pushing it out a year. So anything beyond year 1 is out of the budget year. So it's more fluid, I guess. So do you have any questions on the document itself and what we're doing in the time frame, et cetera? Okay, and feel free to stop me as I go. I only have a couple of slides, but I wanted to really highlight the ones. Next slide, James. Just highlight the projects that are in the 5-year CIP for parks. So we have sort of 3 areas in this document that you're looking at that pertain to parks, parks and rec, either facilities or items, for example, playgrounds, et cetera. So in our year 1 of our CIP, we've got some new playgrounds programmed in year 1 and year 2. Let me just start at the top here, which starts in year 2. And that's a restroom remodel that we need to do at Libby Park. We've got a lot of activity going on at Libby Park right now. The bathroom facilities originally were not built for the capacity of some of the events that are happening there now. We have some challenges every time there's a concert at the park.
It's a long-standing, yes.
It's a long-standing.
Issue.
So you can see we have some money not appropriated yet because it's outside of the fiscal years and the budget cycle. And these are they're just really, they're very rough figures when they're outside of year one. So we've programmed year two and year three, a total of 600,000 to do something with the restrooms, either build more bathrooms, do something.
Is this based loosely on the work that was previously done with the plans that were previously put together for those?
It's been taken into account.
Okay, those are part of the plan.
They're part of the plans, but there could be a complete rescope,
Okay,
meaning it may look, the final product may look nothing like that.
so this is a very rough budget, just based
It's-
on, we need to do something.
Yes, and as year two becomes year one, well, we're fine tuning it now. And if that seems to be the right placement of those, which at this point in time, I believe that to be the case.
Not so much the placement, but, you know, choices as to single stall groups, you know, all that, because that was what was discussed years ago in the plans that we
Yes,
had before.
I'm talking about the placement of it
Oh,
in
on
the budget.
CIP,
In the
the
CIP.
prioritization. Okay,
Yes,
all
the
right.
prioritization, the actual physical location, we've looked at maybe the single stalls where the existing are right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've also considered and have kind of starting to talk about maybe the ticket booth has some capacity on the east side
Yeah.
for bathrooms. So we're looking at a lot of different things and considering a lot of different things right now.
At what point will that come before us?
That will
In the
come-
Planning stages, before it's completely decided, because usually, historically, we would get updates in progress and just, you know, early discussions.
So what we would do is we would take the location in the CIP in terms of the budget, where it's going, which year it's going to be budgeted. And then, so if this 200 or 400 or 300, whatever the mix may be, moves into the year one of the budget, we will begin after July 1st, looking at scoping the project
Okay.
and coming up with a scope. And then it would come to you.
Okay.
So, for discussion
Thank
and
you.
fine tuning.
And is that money allocated there, saying 600? If any of it moves into year one, 25, 26, is it just the amortization then of that 600,000?
No, these figures are rough right now.
Okay,
And they have not been allocated, there's been no appropriation yet.
understood.
So in year one, when they move into year one, what we usually do is we put a dollar amount in the first year for a design, concept review, all of those kinds of things. And then the next year would be a construction project. So that's generally how it works.
Permitting,
Yeah, so.
do we have any design firms, architects, anything
We have
in conversation yet?
nothing yet.
Okay.
No, but we will ramp up if this ends up getting approved and getting proposed and getting approved by city council. We can ramp up very quickly, and it's on everybody's mind right now. So we know that this is a project that we are going to be working on somehow, some way next year, if not this year.
Okay.
So, and then we've got something that we placed out there as we were walking and checking out the bathrooms at Libby. We noticed that the paving at the park, the sidewalk in there needs a little bit of work, the pathway. So, you know, again, that can move anywhere, depending on the priorities. So we go to the new playgrounds, and you can see that we have 200,000 budgeted, and we are right now in year one, this current fiscal year. And Christy and I have spent some time talking about this. And Sage, you and I spoke about this over the last couple of years, and I would like to see this project get scoped somehow. We've gone from two playgrounds to one playground to two playgrounds, different age groups and such. So we need to sort of fine tune what we all want that to be.
So from your perspective, would it be helpful to have a playground committee of 2 people to meet with, as well as presenting to the whole commission?
You know, I would defer to Christy on that.
That's what we have historically done.
And that's what you and
I
I,
think it's worked pretty well.
I mean, whatever's efficient and effective. There's a couple of other things that everybody needs to begin considering too, is we've got some external funding, meaning grant funding. And we have about 750,000 that needs to be spent at Sarasota Park. It's site-specific. And it needs to be spent by the end of by the end of fiscal year 27. So that's June of 2027. So that's a year and a half from now.
And this was the money that was originally allocated to the sports court,
Yes,
which is another discussion to be had.
yes.
Because that's nowhere on any of this.
No, it's not. It's nowhere on
Dropped
this.
off the
It
edge
did.
of the
It fell
cliff.
off this plan entirely. Yes.
Because that's the same funding though that's been extended.
That
'Cause that
is.
was supposed to expire,
Uh,
they've
Yeah, we
extended it.
did extend that, yes. So we have to be mindful of priorities, funding sources that expire and that we need to spend and commit before a certain period of time. And as we all know, these projects take a long time. They do. If we want to get surveys out there in the community, that takes time. If we want to, switch gears and rescope, it takes time. So all of it just takes time. So a year and a half from now seems like a long time, but it's not. I'm just here to say it is not. So that's the playground. So we have that again in 2 years, spanning 2 years. And then we go to,
That's in addition to, you're taking those two figures and an additional 750,000?
no.
Or saying total?
That combined total of 550, we could use that $750,000 grant to fund this project.
And as it shows on the more detailed project aspects, that is completely funded by the grant funding at this
Yes.
point. So all the funding there is just grant funding money, so it's not any measures, it's none of the C money.
No Measure
It's
C
none-
at this
It's
point.
none of matching grants that we could also get, so, and that budget is,
I don't
not-
see the other 200.
It's right below.
That is-
Below
It's
it.
the basketball court, so it's the 550 and the 200 is the 750.
No. We haven't specifically programmed the $750,000 grant yet.
if you look,
We are saying that it could be spent on anything at Sarasota Park. We are, right now, there's a lot going on at the park right now. And there may be some repairs that are unexpected. We've got some walls at the gym that are moving. So we have just exposed those, had a structural engineer out in the last week or two. So there's going to be some repairs. We're still not sure what the magnitude of those repairs are gonna be. So the 750,000, it's in a bucket over here, and it can be spread out, it can be spent on anything we need to spend it on at that facility.
as long as it's a capital improvement, it doesn't
No,
have to be new.
well, It's on any
Any-
infrastructure or any improvements at the Sarasota campus.
Okay.
So it could be the building, it could be the playground, it could be the half basketball court, it could be anything.
Okay.
It's pretty flexible.
If we look farther into this, as you get on with it, each project has
A detail sheet.
detailed outline in it. It tells
Yeah.
you where the funding sources are coming from.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, if they're not in this budget year, they're fluid.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a map of the park and where these items are gonna be located?
yes, and if you look at the detail sheets, they begin, back further in the document, and you will see, if you're actually looking on the sheet that I've tabbed, if you look at that third column, that sheet correlates to a sheet in this document.
I don't think there are page numbers, but,
Yeah,
oh,
it says-
PK01.
Yeah, ST01, so if you look at it, here, I'll go down to yours. So if you look at parks, if you look at PK01,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, you can see a map.
PK03. So
Yeah.
PK03 is the new playgrounds.
Yep.
great.
Right inside.
And which one of these is the basketball?
The basketball court is,
Right here?
yeah,
Oh,
PK04. Yep,
I see you only have room for half court,
we do. And
In that
we were
location.
yeah.
in that location. And again, that was just, you can see that it's out there in year 4. And when the further they get out in the 5-year, the more loosey-goosey it is. Because we
We're
haven't
not ready to spend time on it because no money has been actually allocated.
That's right, and we don't even know if by the time, the priority projects get done, if that's even a priority. So, these are sort of ideas that we have come up with staff and listening to the community, et cetera, talking to Christy, seeing, and actually this half-court basketball court was a remnant from Luis. So, it all depends what we as a community want to build. And so we've got this other, this If you're ready to go on, I'll go on to the next one, the outdoor workout gym.
I'm sorry, I just have one question. Where is the?
Go back, James.
I don't need the slide. I just have a question on the master plan that we
Right.
paid so much money for and spent so much time on. I get that it's outdated because it's been quite some time, but is there staff working on a new master plan because we haven't heard anything about that?
If you can just hold that thought for a
Okay.
moment, I will
Okay.
cover that, because I had a
Sorry.
feeling this may be coming up.
Okay.
So just hang on to that thought, and I will discuss that.
Okay.
So, and I just wanted to back up a moment. So these are the CIP projects. And then we'll go on to a couple of different categories, and I'll identify those as we move on to the next slide. Don't go to the next slide yet, Chase. He hears next slide and he's clicking. So this outdoor workout gym was something that myself and Ben, our city manager, and Christy have talked about. And we were just talking about, maybe, it's not a huge investment, it's about $50,000. And we thought about along the trail on the perimeter of the park, the master
It's in
plan.
the master plan, yes.
Yes, that it would be nice, or maybe even throughout the park, you go to some city parks and there's a pull-up bar.
Yeah.
There's, certain,
That's currently what's in the master plan. And
Yes.
there's a master plan that has a path that
It
kind of
does.
goes around the whole edge and outside of the park.
and there's pull-up bars along the path.
Stations.
Yes,
Kind of like, if I recall, we fashioned it off the one down on the avenue, right? It was similar to that.
Yeah.
so just something that we could implement very quickly, and we think it would be fun and useful for the community. So, okay, the last one, the pickleball sound wall. So we have $250,000 programmed in the budget this year. And Christy, maybe you can speak to this? Can you?
If we're doing it or not?
Yes, and just maybe an update on that?
Well, at this point, there's not really an update.
Okay.
We have talked about it many times at council meetings and things like that. So I think to move forward, it's gonna have to be upped and possibly put on a ballot, or, take more of a serious measure on that.
The comment I would, and I watched the meetings where they discussed it, and what came up is that this is totally insufficient to do anything. And that there's no way that with this budget, anything's gonna happen. And so it was left to, see what they said maybe the commission could talk about it. It wasn't even directly a directive, so my understanding was that the budget to do anything would be triple this, at least. And then that didn't sound like there would be that much return on even the project that was being done for actual sound mitigation, so.
There's quite a few challenges with this, and I totally agree. $250,000 will not get us a wall that will mitigate any sound impacts. And based on my experience, a wall is not going to solve the sound problem, period. So I think we need to put a pin in that, and we just kind of see where it all goes. But we're not ready at this point to spend any amount of money on this.
So there's $250,000 allocated,
Yes, and that's in the budget.
and it could go somewhere else.
It could.
It doesn't have to go to that, because I think the clear understanding I had after watching that meeting was nothing can be done with that amount of money at this
Right.
point.
Yeah.
So,
For sound.
And
for
that,
mitigating sound at the courts.
But could it be allocated for,
Something else.
like the repair of
It could.
the maintenance?
it could.
On
And
the
the
court.
intent when this 250,000 ended up in the budget was just, it was a concept design, it was alternative study, et cetera. It was not constructing a wall. That was not what this was allocated for, appropriated for.
Oh, so there was something specific it was appropriated for then?
No. It was appropriated for a sound wall project, but more of a concept design or an alternative study, figuring out if there was some sort of construction that could mitigate the sound as we hoped it would. So we don't know what that option is yet. We have talked about it, we've looked at alternatives, and there's not one that we feel,
Been able to identify anything at this
yes,
point.
yes, yeah.
And that hasn't yet been approved, it's just.
It's appropriated.
Oh, it is appropriate.
It is,
Okay.
the
It's this
funding
year.
is appropriated for that project, but it doesn't mean it can't be appropriated for a different project.
Or used at that location to do
Something,
improvements.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct,
What I'm hearing.
correct.
to be done.
Any other questions on this slide? Oh, and I also wanted to make mention too, so as we put our CIP together and as we put council items together now, we are attaching it, city council goals with these items. So it helps, the council and it helps the community sort of tie them together, these priorities with the council goals. So it touches on a couple, these projects touch on a couple of different city council goals, arts, culture, and recreation funding, and infrastructure maintenance and improvements.
So actively, this year, year one, planning for the playgrounds needs to start.
Something.
Yesterday.
Yes, well, about 6 months ago,
Yes.
but okay,
I
we'll
know,
go
I-
yesterday.
Yes, we're
I
all
keep
there.
reminding
We're all
Christine, we
there.
gotta get going on this.
And so, and then for the outdoor workout gym, is that, that's gonna start now?
That can start whenever we are ready to start,
Okay.
yes.
And then,
And that could be a very quick and simple sort of, let's just get something done.
my only concern with that is we have the master plan. I wanna make sure that whatever we're getting done is integrated in and not something we're gonna have to move or change
Do
or
twice.
replace or, cause that was supposed to be part of the path. And part of, getting, fleshing that out would be really helpful to understand where to put it based on the existing plan we already have.
Yes,
So,
So is it gonna reflect, going off what you're saying, if this outdoor gym, which is great, which is the rings, the pull-up bars, the dip bars, everything you're gonna put on that path, it should reflect the new plan, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So
cause that path
measure-
isn't
measure-
there.
Measure twice, cut once. is
Right,
what-
exactly. Cause that path is already in the plan, but not in the park
Not-
yet.
But
And-
not in the
and-
park, so it's
Yeah.
gonna reflect the new path.
yes, and it sounds like we're getting here right now. And the question that I have is that we do have a master plan for Sarasota, I think it was 2017, so it's a number of years. It included a sport court out at the corner, which, doesn't have there's not a big appetite for that anymore.
But we don't know.
Well,
I mean, maybe not
well,
internally here,
when-
but from the public standpoint, I don't think we've gone out and asked them.
no, we haven't, but when we did adopt this last year, it was a discussion point in the city council,
At council.
yes.
Okay, but I
Yes.
would say that we haven't engaged the public in years.
This is true. We have not.
2017 is seeming pretty up to date relative to taking 3 years off.
Futsal was
Yes.
really
I mean,
popular then
so-
and up and coming, and pickleball wasn't. It
Yeah.
was just kind of coming out. So there was
Exactly.
there's definitely been some changes. And
Yeah,
And
we just don't know.
exactly. And my very last slide talks about this. What do we want to do with the Sarasota master plan? How, let's just get there.
Okay.
We only got a
Yes.
couple more slides. We'll get there. Next slide. So, again, as mentioned, the parks improvements are in 3 different categories in this CIP. So they're in CIP projects, the projects themselves that you can actually go out there and see. Then we have a climate category. So we are in the process of electrifying and, finding energy efficiencies throughout the city. We've got an item going to council on November 18th, and with an update, we've hired a consultant to help us figure out where we can put solar panels, et cetera, and just, be more sustainable in many areas. So on this, that's what this slide is. So the first one is we are talking about putting solar panels on the roof of Martin Gym. That may change because it may be that there's solar panels elsewhere out there. So we've got two EV charging stations, one at Lower Libby down by the lower tennis courts, and one in the Sarasota parking lot. So those projects are moving forward, and so we're planning on doing those. And then we've got this last one, electrification. Public Works received a Clean Power Alliance $250,000 grant that we were able to, we had to pick one campus, so we picked Sarasota. So we've got $250,000 sitting there available to use, and we're hoping that once we get our final report from our consultant, that we can program this for some projects that need to be done out there.
when does that expire?
That doesn't have an expiration, but more importantly, the critical path is that we hope to implement the recommendations from Climatech, that's our energy consultant, within 12 to 18 months, so within a year and a half from probably from about December. So, June, July of '26. So, but this money, this is a grant, this is funding we have available, and we know it's there, and we're planning on using it for something there,
Great,
so.
really nice.
And again, council goals, climate resiliency, that's what this slide is all about. So, questions? No? Okay, next slide, James. So, this is the final slide for the CIP projects, and this is improvements to the facilities themselves. So, in order to put solar panels on the roof, we need a new roof. So, we need a new roof anyways. So, and same thing with the Boyd Center and the Martin Gym, both of them. And then we've got that Sarasota campus infrastructure improvements, and that's kind of a catch-all. That 250 may slide into year one after we get this report from the structural engineer on the walls.
So it's fluid. It
It's
moves
flu-
when it needs to.
I'm telling you,
move.
it's
Yes.
fluid. And the other thing is the CIP, again, as is our budget, it's a snapshot in time. It can change at the next council meeting if the council decides to appropriate additional funding for anything. Then the budget's outdated already. It's just, it's a snapshot in time. So, next slide. So I just wanted to, so you see that these are the capital projects that were completed in the parks category, and we don't have any completed this year, but we are working on some, as we previously discussed. So in our CIP, we've got 5 years, so the current year and moving forward 4 years, and then we talk about the prior year, because we're actually working on this when we put this together, we were working on it in 24-25, so last year in April. So these are the projects that we completed last year. So we did the pickleball courts at Soul Park, which was a very successful project. We did some lighting at Libby Bowl. We've replaced a couple of heat pumps that were former gas heat pumps we electrified them out at the snack bar and in Martin Gym, and actually also at Boyd Center. And these were all rebated. So we didn't have to pay anything for these. There was a rebate that ended at the end of the calendar year last year. So December, we were going hard on these.
I'm sorry, I missed it, you called it a smart pump?
A heat pump.
A heat
A
pump.
heat pump.
It's
So,
electric.
yes, and we've, yeah,
Heaters.
heaters and air conditioning. Yeah, so,
But heat pump could be your hot water heater, could be your air conditioning and heating. It could be, it's kind of a catch-all term for a
Yeah.
variety of things.
or water heater, yeah.
And you
So-
put them, you said at the Sarasota in the snack bar?
In the snack
Are you
bar.
talking about the one that's down at the
At the
by
corner.
street?
Yeah, did that last year. So, questions?
Great.
Next slide. Next steps. Here we go. There's your master plan.
Yes.
A half of your master plan.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that there. I know that you're all familiar with what that looks like. If not, we've got it and you've got it. But the next steps after this, we would be talking about the master plan, if there's an update to it, if there's things that need to be removed, things that need to be added, whatever it is. Now that we've got 5 of you, this is amazing.
Back in business.
This is amazing. And then I think something else that we might want to kind of start thinking about is an all parks master plan. We have more parks than just Sarasota.
We have talked about that for
Yes.
25 years.
Yeah, well, and maybe now's the time. We just start thinking of things that that we'd like to see other parks looking like, and facilities and such.
Yeah.
So, and then in the next, here we are, November already. So we are already starting to talk about our next CIP, which is this document. So, I will be working with Christy. I work with all of the city department heads and the divisions and see if there's any projects that they think need to be done. And then we consider it, talk to, of course, the city manager, et cetera. So, any projects that you all may want to see in terms of parks for next year, it's a wish list.
Yes, and historically, we actually had our own CIP document that we kept for our commission that reflected the stuff that was here, but then also included things that we wanted to put on there and prioritized in the way we thought the priorities would sit.
And it allowed for really great public engagement,
It
because
did.
it gave, this commission gives them a place to come and share their thoughts on what needs to be done, because a lot of them are the ones out using the facilities.
It is, and that's valuable to know what the community wants and what, you know, for sure. I just want to caution that all of that takes a lot of time.
Yes.
So you gotta back
Start
into
now.
it. So now, you know, if there's something you want to construct starting in next fiscal year, which is July of '26, and you want community engagement, and I totally respect that, and I like that too. But you gotta start.
Yeah.
And you gotta start early.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it is interesting, and I understand that it's not, but the 5-year CIP expenditures, if you look by percentage, I don't know if everyone, it's in here.
Yeah, it's at the front.
The pie chart,
Yeah, Parks is
a small sliver.
small sliver.
And I would say,
I know part of that is in climate, I get that,
but I would also say that that's a function of not having a body here
agreed,
either.
and that's where I think it's really important to acknowledge that too.
It is.
Because going forward, we need to take some bigger bites at some of this stuff.
Yes.
And really go out for the project, larger projects. And I also want to just say, from a historic perspective, going through these projects and knowing we know where there's money out there. So, because I look at some of these budget, the proposed numbers are half of what they need to be for
Yes.
some of these projects. I mean, if that. And so, the sooner we get moving, the sooner we can engage with those groups that help us, like the Civic Association. I mean, they've asked back at us, what about the sport courts? We said yes. I mean, people are like,
They have funds earmarked in
yeah,
their budget.
and they're like, we've got this earmarked, where are we going? And so I think we need to get moving on all of that as well, as part of this.
So I think maybe bringing back the master plan, we'll put on an agenda.
Well, I think we bring back the CIP too and talk about with the master plan, where are the things that we think are the first things to go to? Because like I love the adult fitness, but I caution that let's not do some willy-nilly bits and pieces. Let's really do the projects we want to do and do them well versus rushing to get stuff done.
Yeah, and I think you need to begin thinking about the master plan and what you want it to look like. But at the same time, if there's, like this, circuit around the trail, whatever.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we can implement before or during the development of the entire master plan.
Oh, I understand that.
If we're all in agreement that we want a trail around the park, which would be amazing,
I think
right?
it's so.
It would be amazing
Yeah.
and fairly easy to do.
Okay.
Fairly easy to do. The master plan may take a year.
Oh.
It may take a year and a half or 2 years. A trail is not going to take that long. And so you can look at it, okay, we're going to build a trail, and now the master plan doesn't include the trail because it's done. So
Yeah,
it becomes,
that's fair. Well, and so maybe what I should be saying is, I think the adult sports equipment or community sports equipment is great, but we need the trail with it. So let's look at that
Totally.
project, which is the trail and that equipment from the master plan, the way that it's already in there. Let's look at getting that done.
yeah.
Does it at this point run through anything that's like the playground or anything, just thinking
No,
about?
just the,
No,
It-
it's just on the
There were-
peripheral.
There were changes in that
Trying to
plan, there were
remember.
changes to the other side of the park that's not in this image, where that parking lot goes away and becomes part of the park. That long parking lot goes away, and then the path is going through there, and there's seating areas and places to picnic, and
Right.
then the sports equipment. So yes, part of that is it doesn't fit exactly in what we have right now.
yeah, and when a master plan is created 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and hasn't been implemented, it's time to revisit.
Agreed, but I also think that idea of that is not something, that's a pretty timeless piece of
Oh,
it. So if you're
huge.
saying how we implement and what we implement, that's a great piece to pick off and work on.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
agree.
something that's very easy to implement.
Yeah,
Not super impactful to the rest of the park, and you just now carve that out.
so maybe what we bring back is the master plan and that piece of it, and looking specifically at that and having that discussion. And then I think,
Public engagement.
yeah, because agendizing is part of the, like you're saying, is having it on our agenda and talking about it, then is inviting people to come talk to us about it.
And it gains momentum.
Yes,
you
And
know.
then the playground is, we definitely need some engagement on that, and that needs to happen now. I think we create a committee of 2 people to work on it, and I think we have it at each of our meetings. Just from here forward, try and have like a presentation of some piece of it or some, take off some chunks and invite people to participate in that.
And in all likelihood, here we are in almost, you know,
Yep.
halfway through the fiscal year. So the reality is that that money that we have budgeted in this fiscal year for a playground design concept, whatever, is in all likelihood going to scoot into the next fiscal year. Because with community engagement and this talk of, you know, revising the master plan, time just eats it up.
Yeah, well, and I don't, waiting on, I'm just to make sure I'm hearing what you, are you suggesting we wait on the master plan to plan the playground? No,
No,
okay.
no, but again,
She's just saying in all reality,
It
it's
takes
gonna
time.
take time.
Yeah,
to
yes,
get it
in
on
all
the agenda
reality, it's
next
going to
month
take
and-
time. And again, the playgrounds are part of this master plan.
Right.
So you'll be carving that piece out
Yeah.
of the master plan update as well. So now we're talking about the perimeter trail, you're talking about the playgrounds, those will be carved out. So
Yeah.
now you'll be,
You're working around what you know you already have.
exactly.
Yeah, got it.
Yes.
So I think, so I think we get together
Have it
an
on.
ad hoc committee.
And
And
have it
then
for
we
next
have
month.
it on the agenda for our next month as a presentation of, you know, we could, do you feel like you're in a place ready to make any kind of presentation about the beginnings of a design, of how we were gonna approach this, or what it should look like, or the pieces of it, or do you want us to work on
Of
that?
the master plan or of the playground?
Playground.
No, Sage, honestly, the last time I had a conversation
Okay.
about the
Got
playground
it.
was with you about a year and a half ago.
Okay, fair.
So we'll
Okay.
start with an ad hoc, and I have it on the
Yeah.
agenda for next.
Would the creation of this trail impact the location, the proposed locations of any of these items that we're looking forward to?
You know, the locations aren't so pinpointed that they can't be fluid, they can't move. The only thing to me, in my mind, that really can't move is the perimeter trail.
Yes.
And that's why I'm sort of suggesting, there's only one perimeter.
Yeah.
It's a, pardon me?
There's really only one place the perimeter.
Right.
There's only one place the perimeter is.
Yeah.
So everything else can move around the campus.
Yeah.
You know, the playgrounds are kind of in a cool location, and I think we're all probably sort of committed to that general location.
Yeah.
You know,
It's already there. and
yeah, it's already there, and
Keep the open areas open.
keep the open areas open.
And the other thing I'd love to put on there too is the, some water element.
And, and there's some discussion about a splash pad or some sort of cooling something. It's hot out there,
Yeah, and that was,
and that's in there
it
too.
is, because that was really a big desire when Libby was being done, but we couldn't quite get there for it then. And-
James, next slide. Let's see if it is. Oh, I must have hidden the slide. It was the whole master plan. I thought, okay, we're here.
We're here.
It was the entire master plan. I cut it in half, but it must be a hidden slide. So,
Okay.
any
Thank you for
questions?
the presentation.
Yes,
So
wonderful.
what
Thank you.
I'm also hearing is, so playground,
Oh, look, he's gonna unhide it for us.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
can you
so
unhide
good.
that last slide?
thank you. It's so nice
There
to
we
see
go.
it on the
Oh,
big
there it is,
screen.
yes.
There. How about as a slideshow now, James? I feel like I'm talking to the wizard. He's back there. So, yeah, there it is. There we
Thank
go.
you.
Yeah.
There's the whole master plan.
Yeah, see, the biggest difference is on the south side.
Do you know what the length of
Because the
the
parking lot's
perimeter is?
I don't.
People wanted to run around it and,
I feel like I've heard that all the
It's
way
written
around it's about a
somewhere.
quarter of a mile.
That's what
About
I
a
remember
quarter
too.
mile track.
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, which would be amazing,
Yeah.
if we could really make it a quarter of a mile.
I guess the only part would be where the parking lot is still a parking lot, right? Isn't that still a parking lot down on the
South side.
south side?
It is. Yeah, and we would want to keep the parking lots. And incidentally, the proposed location of the EV charging station, I'm just gonna go up there and point it out to y'all. Sorry, It is down, it's right down in here.
Oh, okay,
It's right down in there.
nice.
But alternate location over in here. So
Right.
we need to have it facing the sun,
Oh,
Oh, right.
obviously.
And then I guess, I mean, this is kind of a overlap question, but the residents that live along Park right there, this will obviously impact them during construction and all that. And I know when I've lived in other places and cities were doing work, in our neighborhoods and stuff like that, there's no sign-off process with the residents on Park at that time. I know this isn't our purview, per se, but how does it work traditionally in Ojai like that? You know, if there's city construction going on.
Well, I can kind of speak to that right now because
You're doing
we're
all.
working on a couple of downtown parking lots, as you may know. So what,
Rain's parking lot's fantastic.
it's amazing. And the arcade will be
Yeah.
amazing too. It's some interesting construction challenges there, but not for tonight. So what we do in the Public Works Department, when we know a project is coming through, we give plenty of notice. We use our social media and put it out there. Unfortunately, there are short-term inconveniences for long-term gain. And most people understand that. The parking lots downtown, we gave notices to all the businesses. When we do a paving project, we do door hangers. We're very, very proactive. This community is very engaged, and as are we. You know, we want to engage with them. We want to make sure that they know who they can call if there's any questions. We give them adequate notice if there's going to be no parking along, for example, Park. If there's not going to be any parking during construction, we would post no parking signs well in advance.
Okay.
So we're very proactive on that. Questions?
Thank you for all the information.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank
I
you.
think the next
You're welcome.
time is for us to put this back on as a discussion
Yeah.
and to make our
Welcome,
wish list, as
Christy.
you wanna call it.
I think so
Absolutely.
too.
Oh,
And I do like the idea, just
Japan.
like, put it under an umbrella,
Yeah.
like, all the parks under an umbrella, like, cause,
And I'm happy to come back.
Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
playgrounds,
Playgrounds?
Playgrounds.
Again, round two.
come back,
Or three or
come
four.
back, yes.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
that was very helpful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, and moving on to our next discussion item, we have our Community Pool Ad Hoc Committee with the recommendation that the commission discuss establishing an ad hoc committee to evaluate community public pool needs. And I do have a speaker card. Of course,
Oh,
yes,
yes,
if you
we
want to,
can.
if you would like to. I didn't have any cards, but please feel free to come up. That's okay. No, welcome, before we move on.
Renee Roth. And I think the idea of getting back to the general plan, or the plan for the park is a really good one. And I think from there you prioritize that $750,000 is a gift, and it should be used wisely. I know that there was a community questionnaire that was discussed a while ago. I don't know if that's coming back, or what kinds of things were on the questionnaire. I haven't seen any updates on that. That hasn't come back before you?
There was none provided yet.
I can speak to that after you're done.
Yeah, so I just think the community questionnaire and the general plan should be worked in together, and you don't do one before the other. You get the community questionnaire out, and that gift of the $750,000, of course, your structural infrastructure has to be solid, and your buildings have to be solid. There's another side of the climate discussion that I looked at your early version of the general plan. You have a lot of roof structure. And that roof structure is a great way to capture water into rain tanks and drainage that can be used to create rain gardens for climate-appropriate landscaping. And I didn't see any of that in the plan or discussed in the earlier version of it, but you've got a lot of roof water. And that's like having a mountain range behind you that's gonna capture runoff. And going forward, I think that should be something that you might want to consider budgeting in your projects for landscaping and not just having it all be green grass. Yeah, green grass is nice. It's great. But I want you to be able to think climate and climate appropriate and how are we going to pay for watering all this grass. And there are ways to reuse and recapture rainwater. I'd like you to think about that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers before we move on to item B or item A? Okay. Community pool ad hoc committee discussion. So I think that we've had quite a few discussions, not really a lot of information going on with the Nordhoff pool, but I know that we had several commissioners that were interested in being on the ad hoc to kind of do a deeper dive into the issue, and not necessarily focusing on the Nordhoff campus, but a community pool, perhaps even at a different location that was separate, or is that the best fit? And so I think we brought this here tonight to have that discussion amongst the public and the commissioners on if someone has an interest in sitting and
as an action item.
as an
Which is
action
what
item.
is-
Yes,
Held us back before.
yes. So would anyone like to start? I know we all have input, so who would like to go first?
You were
I'll go first.
You were very active in the last
yes.
meeting on the pool.
Yeah. I've attended some meetings. I've spoken to a bunch of people on all sides of this issue. I'm deeply concerned about what the school district is doing in terms of laying down rules as to when and how the members of the general community can use the pool that has been built. I took a look at the measure that the bond that was passed, and it seems clear to me that in selling it to the public, they were not only talking about a school pool, but a community pool. I don't like to use the words bait and switch, but I kind of could in this instant. It's my understanding that the school district would like to have the city's money for operational purposes because they don't have enough to operate. But at the same time, they want to dictate when and how the community will be able to use the pool. And that's going to be very difficult because at any time, the school can say, we need to use this for our water polo team, for our swimmers, for classes in teaching swimming. I have a deep and abiding concern that we would be left with no opportunity to have the general public use the pool. So what does it come down to? Do we have enough money to create our own pool? Do we want to insist that the school district comply with the representations that were made to the community that voted the bond? Or do we just want to forget about it? I don't think anybody wants to forget about it. So we're left with two choices, it seems to me, three. One is, as I said, do nothing. The second is engage the school district to act in what I would consider a more reasonable manner. The third is to go head on against the school district. I think there's a real problem here in terms of what they've done that would could result in some parties filing legal action against the school district on the basis of representations made and not fulfilled, which could have an impact on their use of that pool and the money that they spent on it. They may have to pay off those bonds more quickly. I think that we should have a committee that takes a hard look at the relationship between the city, representing the public at large, and the school district, acting on behalf of their students. I think each party has a valid interest in what needs to be done, and I think it's going to require at least the school district to come to some sort of understanding of what it's capable of doing and what it has to yield to the city, based upon the fact that this money came from the city and the money is going to be paid back. That's all I have to say at this point. And I would like to create a committee of 2 or 3 members of this commission.
Just two.
Two members of this commission to interact with the school district and all of the parties involved. And my understanding is there's a nonprofit that's been created. Some papers were delivered to us this evening, and I've read through them. That's a good start, but I think we should have representatives going to that nonprofit.
Totally agree with that.
I think the only thing I caution is we need to work within our purview. And we need to plan for what we need and know what our citizens want and advocate for that. But I think for me, there's kind of a line between, we aren't telling the district what to do. We're discussing with the district what we can come to common ground to do something for everyone. I just want to be very clear about that, because our purview is the city of Ojai and our citizens. Well, I mean, to be fair, recreation goes beyond that always, because we serve the greater area. But I think, from my perspective, what is really important for our body to do is to know what it is what our citizens want and how to serve them. Which, knowing what's enough and what's not enough is informationally something we need to understand, and what things they want to get out of it, and can we get that out of that pool. And at the end of the day, it is always a negotiation of, how much do we get out of it, and what's the value, and what are we willing to spend for that. And then there's also the discussion of, and I know that it's considered to be a ridiculous idea most of the time, but do we have the capacity and ability to build a new pool somehow? Is there a way to do that if this is
True community.
a true community pool? I mean,
Under the city's control.
we'll talk about that under the, yes, and, or I'm gonna throw something new out there. Or is this the point where we know we need a parks district? I mean, which is another avenue for how you fund a greater, service area for services. Cause right now, we charge a very minimal out-of-area fee, which is as it should be, and I wouldn't advocate for different, but we aren't collecting from everyone. Right. So that's when we go to negotiate, or we go to work together and collaborate with the district to see where we can find some common ground on this. That's all gonna need to be into consideration of what we're looking at. I think there are questions to be answered for sure, but I think we do have to just be mindful of our purview and what we have influence over and what we're looking at. But I still think all the questions we ask and the information that's gathered and the discussions we have inform all the things you're talking about with, will it serve us? How does it serve us? What do we need? So I still really feel strongly we should form a pools ad hoc committee to do some independent outside work on all of, many of these topics that have come up. But just understanding, what our, what we're serving and what we're trying, what we're here to do for the city.
The ad hoc commission does make it a little bit easier to do some public engagement too. I think that's because not everybody can come and be a part of
So
our
we can only do
once-a-month
2
meetings.
because we're 5. And then anything more than that would constitute a quorum.
Right.
And so.
So 2 out of the current seating.
But I do think and I think there are questions that can be asked and research that can be done, and even back to the questionnaire and asking some questions there and really starting to try and get into the details.
If we're all in agreement of still wanting to move forward with the survey, I will connect with you this week and we can do that. Yeah, kind of get that
So-
moving.
I hear that you want to serve on the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
Can citizens be on the ad hoc committee?
It may get to that point, but in the beginning, I think it's gonna be a working committee of two, just to try and form, the goals that wanna be achieved through the ad hoc committee. But we have historically had other ad hoc committees with,
Public that came.
with the public, with city council members, all working together on certain topics.
I submitted a guy, at the right time, I'd like to talk to the
Sure, sure. And Brenda, did you have any additional input?
No, I feel like I'm still learning a lot about what's going on.
No. I just, I think we have to be mindful of our relationship with OUSD. I have 2 children in the school district, and I know, even as a parent, when I go onto campus, I have to check in. It's not an open campus, like maybe when we were in school. There's just, school safety is, at the forefront from the moment they are onto campus. It's very, we're fortunate enough to be able to raise our kids without 10-foot security walls, and some schools where we go to play sporting events, you have to walk through a metal detector to get into the facility. So I'm grateful that my kids don't have to experience that, but at the same time, especially at Nordoff, they're very mindful of who comes on campus. So I want to just caution and remind, reiterate what Sage said. We want to build relationships, and I'm hearing the nonprofit. I briefly read what was submitted earlier this evening, and I think that's wonderful. But I do just want to also say that I think the committee should also be willing to expand that if that relationship isn't working out and the public truly wants a community pool, that be part of the discussions at that ad hoc.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and you've just sort of added one more piece of the problem, and that is, I'm familiar with the closed campuses because I have grandchildren, but what will inhibit the public at large from going onto campus using the pool? I understand they only wanted to allocate, I think, 2 lanes for use. Was that what it was, Bob? 2 lanes?
Sure.
Had all kinds of scenarios.
Yeah.
There was all kinds.
Yeah, there were all kinds of things.
Hours in
Yeah.
after school, weekends, summertime.
In the end, I'm certainly willing and open and hopeful that an accommodation can be reached with the school district. However, from what I've seen and what I've read, I think that's going to be kind of difficult as long as the terms, as I've seen them and heard them, are that they want us to pay for the management of the school, of the pool, but at the same time, they want to limit the use of the pool. There is a lot to be said for having our own pool if we can afford to do it. It's the problems with using the school's pool, I think, are legion, and in the end, of the negotiations. I'm not really all that hopeful, but I'm certainly willing to try.
As I would just like to say too, historically, what we've done for aquatics at all has always been the summer, and that's something we know how to do. We've done it for years. And so that is a place, I think. that-
Programming, you're saying.
Programming, and, running that kind of programming is something that's well within something that we've done before, that we're capable of doing, and that's historically what we've done. So I think that's a place too, to look at.
It would be wonderful if we could program it, but
Just
from
during
what I...
during
from-
the summer.
Just during the summer.
During the summer, I understand, but I assume they have summer school going, and I assume that the school
August
district
preseason.
is operating at the same time. And I assume it's going to be a year-round draw for the students in the school. And the summer, let's face it, the summertime is when we need the pool.
Yeah, no, so that's just,
So
it's just a
everybody's-
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I just, if I could, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that there is a 2-2 committee with the city council, 2 members of the city council and 2 members of the board of trustees that are speaking on this issue. So there's also an ad hoc group with that going on. So I just want to make sure that that gets put into your mix. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but so conversations.
I haven't actually gotten anything directly from that, so.
Yeah, so you might, just as all these ad hocs are being developed, perhaps they could all speak to each other. I'm not sure, I'm not part of that,
Great
but
Do you
there,
know which 2 of the city council are appointed to that?
yeah, it's the mayor, Andy Gilman, and councilmember Whitman. And for the school board, I'm not exactly sure. I know Atticus Reyes is on that, but I'm not sure who the second member is. But they are in process of discussing all of this and bringing it to the city. We, as council members, we've not had anything from that ad hoc group, so it's still in process. But, so there's stuff floating around, is all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think
thank
that's
you.
very helpful.
Yeah, would there be, I think when our committee is created, ad hoc committee is created, even to see if it could work in terms of the need. I feel like our need is so big within the community that the school also is gonna have a huge need. I'm not quite sure how those fit.
To do both at the school year.
Yeah.
And
Like
that, I
within-
think that's what I'm hearing, well, I'm kind of hearing both from the public. There's a need to support 2 pools. And if we can use the city pool for perhaps some programming, that the ad hoc committee could explore that like we have historically in the past, because that's pretty easy to do when school is out, even with the summer school, the access is still there. And then perhaps the committee can look into is it feasible to do and where would that go? Okay. Do we have any other,
We have a public comment too.
and do we have any other members that would have an interest? Because so far I only have one before I reach out to our public. So think about that. Okay. You're feeling it? Is that
No,
what
no,
you're
I'm thinking more on the like the parks ad hoc committee.
saying? I have a speaker card from Mr. Ward. Would you like to join? Please.
Also thinking of that, yeah.
Christie, Commissioners. Hi, Bob Ward, city resident for a long time, swimmer for forever. I am part of the group that Brad mentioned. We've been meeting now for about 6 months. We're a working group right now. We have applied for nonprofit status. We've had probably 10 meetings. We've done a ton of research on this topic, and I feel like we've learned a lot, really, about running a pool and how much money that costs per year. We've had several meetings with Andy. My wife Laura has met with the mayor. We've talked with OUSD board members, so on and so forth. I share a lot of Brad's concerns, regarding not only the design of the pool and what's followed since it was built and released. It is a beautiful pool. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. I've swam in it, and it breaks my heart that we haven't gotten to a better place yet in terms of what the plan is going forward. We're still hopeful that there can be a plan going forward that would have meaningful shared access to this great facility. We know how badly, the entire valley needs community pool access and what it would mean for all of us and everything. We've presented some options. We submitted that, Christy, I think before the meeting and so far. That seems like a couple of you have had a chance. I know it was last minute, but we've literally been pulling together a lot of the historical data that will show you, the history of the bond and kind of what's transpired since then. But we're looking for solutions now, and what does that look like? And we've talked to some consultants, Lane 4, that's mentioned in the document and the editorial that'll go out in the newspaper tomorrow. And they've talked to us extensively about their experience with Santa Ynez. Has a similar public-private pool that's built on Santa Ynez High School property. They're also working with UCSB in their new aquatic center up there. And fundraising and other opportunities for, basically it's $1 million a year kind of an operation. So how are you gonna, not only pay to keep the lights on, but the pool manager, lifeguards, programming fees, all these kinds of things, right? So it's a big deal. And, you know, I would love it if there was even another pool. I mean, because honestly, that pool is kind of a racing pool, which, you know, warms my heart, but it's like they only put like 1 or 2 lanes of it shallow, and the rest of it's like, you know, 8 feet deep. And so, I mean, there's stuff about it, the access, like you mentioned, you know. Clearly, they didn't design it for public use because there's a public locker room there and that kind of thing, right? They were planning to use the locker room from the school. But you could easily close it off from the back and enter from the front. You know, all of these details about how to share access, we've had some conversations with Atticus and with Jim Halverson and others, and yeah, it's kind of lukewarm right now. And we're kind of like, well, maybe this is the right time. You guys are forming a committee. I mean, I would like to offer our group up as, you know, anything that we can do to collaborate with you, share the information that we've found out so far. I don't know what other questions you guys might have for me right now, but yeah, I applaud anything that, you know, we might be able to do together.
I think the research is really helpful if the ad hoc commission the committee is kind of not to reinvent the wheel. That's really helpful, so they can share it.
Sure.
I have an interest in serving on at a future time on the playground because I missed out on that committee. So I'm declining sitting on the ad hoc for the pool. And I also sat on the pickleball ad hoc, and so I do have some trauma from that I don't. I'm still recovering from that ad hoc. Robert, I know you're new to the commission. Do you have an interest to
Pool ad hoc?
To sit on the pool ad hoc? If you've never sat on an ad hoc before, it's a more informal way for 2 commissioners to get together to work with nonprofits, to work with representatives.
Yeah.
But if that's something that you and Brad would like to step into that.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll ad hoc with you.
Don't get too close.
I think
to
we
that.
need a motion to do that, but we needed to have some volunteers to do so. So is there any other further discussion? If not, I'll make a motion. I'll motion that we create an ad hoc committee to evaluate the community pool needs and appoint our commissioners. Sorry, I haven't memorized your names. We have Bradley Tannenbach and Robert Munich. Do I have a second?
I second.
And any discussion, any additional discussion, comments?
No, I think, you know, like what the athletic club does really well is, you know, the family pool and then the lap pool.
Right.
I just think that's such a great template, that you have a family pool and a lane pool, a lap pool.
Right.
And I'm a swimmer as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the idea that you could be doing laps, the kids are in the family pool. It's just, I think that is such a successful setup, an aquatic setup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see the research you.
So I'm sorry, we have a motion. I just need to get a roll call. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Munich?
Did I say aye?
Yes, either, whichever you are more comfortable with.
What's my option? Aye, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Commissioner Tabakbang?
Yes.
Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Chair Intner?
Yes.
Commissioner Lear?
Yes.
Wonderful. I think we're going to see a lot of organized thoughts coming out of that ad hoc committee. So thank you
Yeah,
for stepping up for that. Appreciate that. Okay, and moving on to some commission member reports. I have something to share. I was, as we were forming the agenda and talking about agenda items, I just felt that in talking with Commissioner Intner that we were kind of rolling like molasses after being out for so long. So for the visiting public, we were feeling some frustration, like what are we doing? We're not getting anything accomplished. And I think our Public Works director spoke to it. It takes time. And so I do feel like this is our first full commission meeting, and I do feel like the ball is rolling and we have a lot of things to work on. So I hope that we are able to keep our momentum going, and I'm excited to see the master plan come back I think next meeting, we'll have a really full agenda, and that's with hopefully some updates for the public and this public engagement. It's so nice to just see, even if it's just a half a dozen people in the audience, it's really nice to have you all here. So thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts.
I wanted to chime in about the survey. Would it make sense that if we work on it between, excuse me, now and the next meeting, that we bring it for review? Any additions?
Yeah, so I'll get it on the agenda,
Okay.
so if you can work on it, that would be great, because then we can present it as an action item, and we can even have an opportunity if the public comes, if it's agendized, they'll know that we're gonna be talking about it, and if they wanna add something to the survey, then that's gonna be the meeting to do it at, and we can do it all in one meeting if we have it kind of
Okay, yep.
prepared.
Yep.
So we'll do survey,
Community survey.
community survey.
The community survey.
We just would like to do like a community, parks, community park outreach survey, just not on the
Not
pool.
Yeah.
No, we had just been talking about how we want to bring the master plan back and what, it's so outdated. Is there a desire for futsal? Because we really don't know at this point what's the trend, or basketball, because it does change. Obviously pickleball is grown since 2017. And for those of you who didn't get a copy of it, Mr. Kraut gave a really great timeline going back to when it started in December of 17. So that's really helpful if anybody would like to review that. I have an extra copy here. So we'll have that on the agenda. And
I'm just gonna point out, just for next time, we need to have future agenda items as on the agenda. Okay. Sorry. Which would usually be 10, like, or, or 11, or,
Right
it's
before the
right
last.
before the adjournment.
I missed that.
But we did it anyway.
But it's also not without, the realm of reality that on that survey, a lot of people could say, we want a pool,
Yes.
which would be a great way to understand what people really need.
We'll share the survey that we did with over 500 respondents and got quite a bit of information about the pool topic.
Oh,
That's
that'd be
awesome.
great.
That'd be great.
That'd be
That's
really
awesome.
great.
Thank you, Bob.
That'd be great. Any other commission member comments? No? Okay. Do we have a manager's report, Christy?
I would like to say that we just finalized our new activity guide. So that's at printers now as we speak, and should be in mailboxes middle of November. So we've got lots of holiday stuff on there, and
How about a recap on Ojai Day?
Ojai Day was very well. We had about 160 vendors. Everything went smooth. Everybody was positive, except for the
The teacups.
the spinning tubs spun a little too much.
Yeah, my
But-
daughter spun it a little too fast for me.
Yeah, but other than that, great turnout. Everything went very well. So staff all helped out. First year we had all staff on board, and it was wonderful. So yeah.
Great event.
Wonderful. Okay, any other comments? No? Okay. And Councilmember Rule, do you have a liaison update to share?
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. It was fun. Yeah, this is the funnest commission for sure.
Way more better
Yeah,
than the planning
I really don't. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the ad hoc for the pool with the council members, and so that I made you aware of. I loved the presentation by the CIP. I think that, it's fabulous that there's money, so that can lead to some really great thinking and planning. It's always a boon to have some bucks. We, as commission, Councilmember Lang and I have been thinking and working on a splash pad, not really sure of how it would complement or be separate from a pool, you know, I mean, it becomes more sort of urgent if you have a pool at Nordoff that is not available all the time. So we're working on that as well, and we would love to make sure that communication is going back and forth sort of as you go on with your master plan and think about where a splash pad might want to be. We picked up a whole bunch of brochures. Who knew that at city council conferences, there's a whole group of people who provide splash pads? I guess everybody,
Playgrounds as well.
yeah, you know, it's
That
so,
is in the old master plan. It's
Yeah.
built into the. That's
yeah, and so, you know, it becomes a plan. I loved the idea of thinking about the parks, the park system. And I've, you know, Sage, you live across the street from Daly Ranch Park. The city needs a dog park. The city needs a dog park. We need a place where dogs can be off leash. It is their nature to be off leash. And if you don't have one, people will find one. And then other people will get mad at people who find one.
It needs to be thoroughly considered, because as a neighbor of that park,
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you.
it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know, that's why I pointed it out. You know what happens when you don't have a designated dog park. People will make a park a dog park, and other people will get very upset with that. But on the other hand, dogs need to be off leash. It is their nature. So, you know, where we have a responsibility to people, we also have a responsibility to the creatures that we have chosen to bring into our lives and to raise. That's my only point on that. I feel very strongly about that, as you probably know, because I end up on social media all the time. Yeah, so, and finally, I just wanted to add, I wanted to give myself props. It used to be arts and culture, and I recommended that it be arts and culture and actually critical thinking, but they convinced me that recreation was as good as critical thinking. So we now have arts, culture, and recreation, which makes it easier to bring you guys into the conversation and into the fold, because you're always part of our strategic goals.
I really appreciate that, because I had talked to some people, I'm like, we're just not in there somehow.
Yeah,
And this is the commons.
yeah,
This is the place where everyone meets.
right, exactly.
Special interests aside, it's our open spaces and our public places.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's it for me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I think.
I have one question. In years past, we always had a joint meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like we spent a ridiculous amount of time doing a presentation, if you will, like meetings and meetings and meetings, and then it sort of just fell on deaf ears. Is there a opportunity for a joint meeting with the council, and could it just even be more informal, where we're just here to kind of not all of us get to go to the council meetings or watch, or some of us are new? Is there any discussion about having a joint meeting that is?
Yeah, absolutely. The other commissions, we have scheduled the other commissions for joint meetings. So we're happy to schedule you guys,
Okay.
if you haven't
Glad I
already.
asked.
It's not been my job to
It's not
schedule
your
you.
job at
It's
all.
not my
No.
job to schedule you, but I will make sure in my discussion, my weekly meeting with the city manager, that we make sure that you get on the agenda. I think we're trying to do a 5 o'clock or a 4:30 to 6, so that we have enough time to really discuss in a thorough and informal way what we're all thinking. So, and I will do that. I will put that on my list to speak to the
I think
to
a
the
lot
city
of-
manager.
Our next meeting, we're gonna have a lot of information to share with council, and so perhaps at the beginning of the year might be a good time to
I
schedule
heard
it.
tell that there were dates thrown around a while ago. Do you know what they
Yes,
landed on?
yes. So our joint meeting should be the fourth quarter of the year. Due to a lot of meetings in December, it's been pushed back a little bit. So it is coming. So it'll be during the first of the year sometime.
Okay.
Haven't had a final date, but
Yeah, which
let you know.
also reminds me, the first quarter, and I do actually have it on my computer here, the first quarter, we will be putting out a survey as well. The city will be putting out a survey, and it's possible that, you know, you could suggest some things based on what came back from your survey. things like that. If you wanted to think about participating in that, it's mostly around, what's working really well in the city and what's not working so well in the city. But we'd be happy, we're drafting the questions now. We'd be happy to share them with you and see if there's anything that you would like to add or, think could be targeted or, better articulated, whatever, just feedback that you would like. This is planned for the first quarter of the new year. So if you're developing your survey now, it's potential that we could dovetail, and with the survey from the poll, there may be a few questions that would be worth throwing on there from you guys.
So we should ask Christy to ask that we can see that before it's finalized?
Yeah, absolutely, and we're working on that now. Or even as close to finalized as it can be. So we'll definitely, Christy can talk to us and we can talk to her.
Thank you.
Just knock on Ben's door. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you for that.
Okay,
Okay.
so do we feel like we've got the future agenda items?
Yes.
You're good?
Mhm.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay, and with that, I will adjourn our meeting, 7:35, and we hope to see all of you and bring a friend at next month's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Had a great picture.
You look great with long hair.
Good to see you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, my pleasure. Like I said, this is
Our dog was just.
right, Brad. See you in the funny papers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk.
We'll
ad hoc.
talk.
I'll give you a call.
We will confer, confab, whatever they say in the biz.
I want to confab and confer.
Oh, both, okay.